Hi, today we're going to be looking at mixed numbers and improper fractions. It's a foundation level topic and you're very often going to be asked to switch between mixed numbers and improper fractions. Sometimes when you've completed a calculation and maybe added together or multiplied some fractions, you might find that your answer is in a form that looks wrong and you need to change it into a form that looks a lot more sensible. So let's take a look at what we're dealing with. A mixed number is like the top number we've got there, 2¼ It's a mixture between whole numbers and fractions. That's how we often recognise fraction type numbers. And the one below it is an improper fraction. That's how we often don't recognise them, 11/3. It looks like it's upside down. Usually you have a small number on the top of the fraction and a large number on the bottom. And an improper fraction seems to be upside down. We have to switch. If we receive an answer from a calculation that we do that looks like this, it doesn't make a great deal of sense. So we need to turn it into a mixed number. And that's the point of today's lesson. Now, before we start on that, we need to remember that a whole one is always going to be a situation where you have the same number on the top as you have on the bottom. 2 out of 2, 5 out of 5, 7 out of 7. Think about a spelling test. If you get everything right, 10 out of 10. Okay, so you've got the whole thing right. So whenever it's the full amount out of whatever the bottom number is, it means it's a whole one. So bear that in mind as we go along. So what we're going to do first is we're going to switch mixed numbers into improper fractions. And we're starting there with 2¾ 2¾ we're going to write it just as fractions, okay? So without the main 2 involved. Now the first thing to remember with this is that your answer is going to always end up with the same denominator as you started with. So it's in quarters here, it's going to end up in quarters. That's not going to change. To find what 2¾ is as an improper fraction is very, very simple. Take your main large number, the 2, multiply it by the bottom number. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, if we had 2 whole ones, it'd be 8/4. Okay, because 1 whole one is 4/4, 4/4, both the same numbers. 2 whole ones would be 8/4. And now, because we've got a little bit extra, add the 3. The 3 comes from the top of there. That makes 11. So 2 times 4 makes 8, plus 3 makes 11. And that's the number that's going to go on the top of your improper fraction. And that's it, it's finished. That's all you have to do. Let's do the same thing over here then. 5 2/3. Your answer is going to be in thirds because the question was in thirds. So it's going to be 5 times 3. So we're multiplying the main whole number by the denominator, the bottom number. 5 3s are 15. And now add on the extra bit of the fraction. So that's 2 in this case, and that makes 17. So the answer is 17/3, 17/3. One more, 4 2/5. Your answer is going to be in fifths. 4 times 5 is the first thing you need to do. 4 5s are 20. And now there's a 2 on top. Add that 2 on. 20 plus 2 is 22. So your answer is going to be 22/5. That's how you change a mixed number to an improper fraction. You get your whole number, multiply it by the denominator, and then add the numerator, the top number. And you keep the bottom the same as it was in the question. Now going in the reverse direction, going from improper fractions to mixed numbers, is something that you might have to do more frequently. Because sometimes when you've completed a calculation, that can be when you need to move from something like 13 over 5 into a number that makes more sense. Now think about this. The last time we did this, moving from mixed numbers to improper fractions, we were multiplying. So it makes sense in maths. If you're doing something the opposite way round, you do the opposite operation. So this time we're going to be dividing, and that's exactly how it works. This actually means 13 divided by 5. You know that division sign that looks like that? It's a fraction, and those two dots stand for random numbers. Okay, and this particular division is 13 over 5. So all we do is we say, how many 5s are there in 13? 13 divided by 5. Well, there are 2 5s in 13, remainder 3, aren't there? 2, remainder 3. That's how many 5s there are in 13. And remarkably, the answer is going to be that. 2 3/5. We're keeping the same bottom number, because we always do that when we move either direction with improper fractions and mixed numbers. We're keeping the same bottom number, and we've just done 2 remainder 3. There's our 2 remainder 3. So keeping it the same here, 11 over 4. That means 11 divided by 4, which of course means how many 4s are there in 11? Well, once again, there are 2 4s. 2 4s are 8, so it's remainder 3 again. This time our bottom number is going to be 4 because it was 4 there, so it's 2 remainder 3, 2 3/4. Last one, 17 over 5 means 17 divided by 5. How many 5s are there in 17? Well, 3 5s are 15, so it's 3 remainder 2. Our bottom number is going to be 5 because that's where we started with. The answer to our question was 3 remainder 2. And that's it. That's how you change improper fractions to mixed numbers. Okay? So if you're asked to do that, or if you've completed a calculation and you have to then change your answer into a sensible looking number, that's how you do it. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching. Bye.